Hi everyone, my name's Daryl. So back in September of 2019, I was diagnosed with Guillan-Barre syndrome. Then after a really bad relapse in December of 2020, I was re-diagnosed with CIDP. So I really wanted to create something because I was so confused when this happened to me, and there were some resources online, but I didn't think enough. And so I decided, along with my co-host Julie, to create a YouTube channel that's going to give some resources for newly diagnosed GBS and CIDP patients. We decided to call the channel the Turtle Warriors, and we did this because the turtle sort of signifies Guillain-Barre and CIDP patients, because we get better slowly, which stands for GBS. And the warriors signifies that we battle this disease every day. Now, I'm not a medical professional in any way, but I've been battling this disease for over 3.5 years. Before you make any sort of changes, you always want to talk to your doctor first. But today I'm going to talk about how I prepare for my IG intravenous infusions. So the first step really starts the day before. So I get my IVIG, this is actually Gamma Guard, and I usually get it about 4 or 5 days before the infusion. And when I get it, although this can be stored at room temperature, I put it in the fridge just in case. And so the night before, usually at around 8 or 9 at night, I take the IVIG medication and I take it out of the fridge and I basically put it at room temperature. So that way, when you get infused and that solution goes into your veins, it's not really cold, which can cause a number of additional side effects. So the second thing I do is I hydrate like crazy. So I think this is about a 32-ounce flask or so. I usually start this at 7 in the morning. My nurse gets here usually at 9 o'clock. And so I drink at least 3 or 4 of these, probably more like 4. Basically, you want to hydrate. There's 2 reasons for hydrating. The first reason is to make sure that your veins are nice and plump. If you don't hydrate and you're dehydrated, the veins get smaller and it's really hard for the nurse to get access to the vein and to get what they call flash. The second reason is you really want to hydrate, so your body is hydrated as you're getting your IV infusions, because you want to keep your body before and during the infusion at the same fluid levels. If you don't, and you're sort of dehydrated as all this fluid goes into your body, it can cause headaches and other sort of side effects. So the third thing that I do is I pre-medicate. And so I take Tylenol, 2 of these, and I take Benadryl, 2 of these. And basically what the Benadryl does is it helps with any possible allergy reactions that can happen from the infusion. I actually had 2 pretty bad allergic reactions. The first one actually wasn't that bad. I just kind of had itching and some hives and stuff, but the second one was really bad because I got really bloated, kind of like a blowfish. It was just disgusting. Actually, my lips got really big. I looked like one of those Kardashians. And so after that, they actually prescribed me, my doctor did, a oral steroid that was intravenous, but it turns out that that particular allergic reaction was to a medication that had a bad lot. And so the steroid made me feel really bad. And yeah, I stopped taking it after I found out that it was a bad lot. The Benadryl kind of makes me feel bad too. It kind of makes me feel anxious and kind of groggy. So the other thing I take is, so I take my Benadryl and I take my Tylenol. I take my Tylenol because it helps with flu-like side effects. So when you're getting your infusion, you can have body aches and you can have headaches and you just feel like crap. And I still feel like crap afterwards. Usually not till the next day. Usually the night before is just really bad and I feel like crap. But the Tylenol does help with that just a little bit. Now my co-host Julie, she's actually swears by getting IV hydration. She does this because you get hydrated a lot more quicker if you go through intravenously. You know, I drink so much water beforehand and I start relatively early. You know, I'm basically just peeing like a racehorse. So yeah, I don't think I particularly need that, but you might want to look at that if you maybe just don't want to drink a whole lot of water beforehand or be peeing like a racehorse. So the last thing I do right before the nurse gets here is I apply heat to both of my arms. So I'm considered a tough poke, I guess you could say. Not that I'm tough, it's just really hard for the nurses to put the catheter in and to get flash. And they love my veins, and my veins are really nice and plump, but for whatever reason, they're kind of tough to get in. So what I do is right beforehand, my nurse recommended this, I put these heating pads, and these are actually Bed Buddy heating pads. They're really nice. They give a nice warm heat. So I put it in the microwave and then I apply it to both arms. And the reason I apply it to both arms is just in case one arm doesn't work very well, then they try the other arm. So they'll sometimes go back and forth. But these have helped a lot. There were situations where they had to poke me like 8 times to get a flash. And so once I've been doing this with the preheat, it's almost been a single shot every time. So yeah, that makes me really happy. So my nurse is about to get here and I've got my heating pads all in my arms and hopefully it works. So after she gets here and after I get my IV done, then I'll go ahead and update you on how things went. And yeah, hope to see you. Hopefully we have no problems, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Hi everyone, Daryl again, I'm back. So great news. Yeah, the catheter went in. She had some difficulties when she was putting the catheter in, the vein wanted to roll, and that's kind of typical for me. A lot of times my vein wants to roll, but she put a special light on the vein so she could actually see it, and she was able to get the catheter in there and was able to get flash, and so yeah, it worked out great. And now, one shot, I didn't get all freaked out and getting close to being done with my infusion, so I'm real happy about that. So me and my co-host Julie, we're going to be creating a lot of content specifically for CIDP as well as Guillain-Barre patients. And so really think about subscribing to this channel. Once again, the channel name for this is the Turtle Warriors. And we hope that this will give you some good resources. As I mentioned, I didn't have a lot of resources when I first ran into this disease on what it was and the things I could do to help. And so hopefully we're going to be able to create some content that's going to help new patients out, and we're going to be creating a lot of it. So please consider subscribing to my channel, as well as for this particular video, also consider liking it, because YouTube really looks at those likes, and the more likes a video get, the more likely it is for YouTube to show the content to other folks. And so I hope to see you again in the next one very soon.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.